Today's video is going to be all about that glow. Many of you are asking me, what are you doing differently in your videos to get that glow? Today, I'm going to share with you step by step what I do. And today's video is in collaboration with Nordstrom. Everything that I'm using can be purchased online or in store at Nordstrom. As a matter of fact, that's where I got them all. Some of these are old and a couple of items are new that I just purchased at the during the anniversary sale with Nordstrom. And today I'm going to begin with the Laura Mercier Pure Canvas Primer Illuminating. That is the key word. Now, if you are someone who is going to start out with a matte primer, you may not be able to achieve this look. So keep that in mind. But there is another product that I'm going to use that you may be able to tie in and stay with your matte primer because you need a little bit more wear. So I'm going to start with the primer and we're just going to go ahead and take about that much. Now remember, this is an illuminating primer and we're just going to apply it to our skin all over. Now there are areas on my face that I do not like to have a glow because I think it accentuates the wrinkles that I have in those areas. So you notice I did not go up underneath my eyes with this primer. And I do go over my nose, but we're going to rectify that situation in a bit, okay? So go ahead and put your primer on anywhere you're going to put foundation. So if you're someone who goes down your neck, then you go right ahead and do that. I don't, okay? So we have our primer in place. And of course, you have to start with really moisturized skin, okay? That makes a big difference if we just try to get a glow on our gator skin. And believe me, I have gator skin, not as bad as it used to be. Florida's humidity is kind to me. But we do have to prep the canvas before we start. All right, so now here is what I'm doing a little bit different. Normally, I would just go in with my foundation. And today I'm going to use the Dior Forever Skin Glow. Now mine is the glow. I also have the matte, I believe. And you can do this because I do use my Tom Ford Traceless foundation as well, which has a little bit of a matte satin finish to it, not super matte, but I have been wearing that as well doing this. I'm trying to really use up a lot of my foundation. So I am going to be using the Dior Forever Skin Glow. So now I'm going to start out with one and maybe a half pump. I don't want too much foundation on. I want this to be a really healthy glow. So I'm going to go in now with the Hollywood Flawless Filter from Charlotte Tilbury, number 4. Everything will be listed and linked below for you. So you can just go right on to the link, go hit it, and you can go over and investigate the colors and see what would work for you or just research the product. So I'm going to go in. Now this is in a wand form and I'm going to roll it into my palm. So let me show you. You'll see there's the Charlotte Tilbury. I'm going to take 2 of those and just put it in your palm, or if you have a little palette that you work on, that's fine too. So now I have my Charlotte Tilbury and my foundation. So next I'm going to take my finger and I'm going to swirl those together. Now it should not change the color of your foundation if you are using something that has a satin or radiant glow to it, such as the Hollywood filter. It won't really change it if you have picked a color that really works for you. That's important. You don't want your foundation changing because then you're not going to be happy with this spectacular glow you're going to get. So now I'm going to go ahead and take what's on my finger and just tap it on my face. I'm not picking up a lot. I'm just tapping it and applying it just as you would your foundation. So now I'm going to go in with my sponge, and the sponge is damp, and I'm going to work it in. I'm going to pick up the rest, but I'm going to tap onto my hand with it. These steps are all very important. Now I'm going to get a mirror because I would be dabbing all over the place and not really seeing what I'm doing. So now I'm going to go in and I'm going to start pouncing this foundation. Now here is the key to this. You don't want to keep going over the same area because once it starts to set and you tap with the sponge, you start to mess it up a little bit. So we're just going to quickly I'm not going to go underneath my eyes with this because I don't want that super glow, and we are going to try a brand new concealer today. So now I'm going to move on to the next place and really just work it in. And you'll see the glow is already happening for you. It really is beautiful when you mix. I have found that this Charlotte Tilbury mixes well with all of the foundations that I have tried it with, but it is beautiful with this Dior. Absolutely gorgeous. Right over the lips, the nose area mix. You're getting all the crevices, wrinkles, and then we'll go on our forehead and we will do the same. Now, if you're someone who needs a little more coverage, then you will mix up a little bit more, but always start out with less. You can go right over your eyelids with this, trying not to get underneath the eyes, because see, I have wrinkles underneath my eyes, so I don't want to accentuate those. And I also have very strong lines here, so I try not to apply too much there. But if you're someone who has rosacea and you need to go in and just put a little bit more, get it on and get out of there, because you don't want to start lifting it up. So before I move on to anything else, look at that spectacular glow. Now let me show you the Dior on its own so that you can see that it does have a beautiful glow, but adding that Charlotte Tilbury in really kicks it up a notch. So there it is on my hand. You can see it has a beautiful glow, but you can see how it just comes alive with the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Hollywood Filter. I can't remember all the names of these things. Okay, so now I want to go ahead and apply my concealer, and I am going to try the new one from Lancome. I am forever searching for the perfect under eye concealer because I do have some darkness that I need to address. And it's really tricky when you get to be my age because the wrinkles really do come alive. So this is brand new, and the color that I ordered was 025 Beige Linen 250 Bisque. All right, so again, it is the Lancome Tint Idole Ultra Wear All Over Concealer. So it can be used everywhere. Now, if you do go ahead and use this on the spots, make sure you're using a very small amount so you don't take away the glow in certain areas. So I'm not sure if this is going to be a good color. I haven't even tried this yet. I'm going to go ahead and put it on my hand. It may be a little bit light, but we're going to go with it anyway. We fly by the seat of our pants. So this is where I have my darkness. Most of it is right here on the inner. And because I have veining right here, I do need to place some right on the sides here, because my veins are very green here. And you'll notice above my eyes, why don't we go ahead and put it above my eyes too? I have a lot of purplish veins. When an esthetician puts the light on me, this is like black purple underneath my eyes. It's amazing. She says she's never seen anything like it. Whatever. Okay, so now let's go ahead and just tap this in with my fingers. I'm going to start on the outer. Oh, the color is not bad at all for me. So, oh, and it's very, very nice. First time using it. So now if you put it on your lids, go ahead and just tap. And I kind of do a tap drag up, but I don't pull on the eyelid. And look how nice that is. It really did camouflage. So let's go ahead. And I'm just going to tap this down. Notice I didn't put any underneath the eye. I'm just going to tap whatever's left over underneath. Very nice. Very, very nice, my friends. Okay, let's take a look at that before I move on. I think you can still see it really is nice. It's thin, lightweight, but gives good coverage. And it does have a little bit of it's not drying. It doesn't have a dry, matte look, so it does keep that area looking moist, but I'm going to go in and set it because that's what we do. All right, so I'm going to do this eye and I'll be right back. Okay, the concealer is on. It feels really nice. It gave me good coverage. I could probably go in and build up a little bit more. I have very, very wrinkly under eyes, and I also have a lot of veining. So I really do have to have a concealer. Now, I haven't worn this all day like this to see if it's going to crease, but from experience, most concealers will crease underneath my eyes. So here is where I have changed up a little bit. I always love the loose setting powder from Laura Mercier, the translucent, but it just became a little bit too much for my face. I needed something that had a little bit more of a glow, and that is when I switched over to the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Powder. However, I don't really care for this up underneath my eyes because it does have a little bit of a glow within itself. So if my under eyes are glowing, I feel that it really has accentuated the wrinkles. So I'm going to go in with just a small amount of the Laura Mercier. I'll put a little bit in the cap, and then I just kind of swish it around. And I'm going to take my sponge and I'm going to pick up a little bit of that powder, and then I just want to make sure that it's evenly distributed on the tip. And before this settles into any wrinkles, and if you notice it already has, just give a tap, don't give a rub. And I'm going to go in and I'm just going to get as close up underneath the eye as I can with just that small amount of powder. It's very important. If we pick it up like this, you notice there's a big glob there. You want to really work that so that the tip of the sponge looks more like this. And then again, touch underneath just to make sure. And we're going to go in and just set that concealer as close to the under eye as you can. You don't want to drag it too much down on your cheeks. And then just take a look at yourself and see, am I even? I am. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to touch the lid, and I'm just going to put a little bit to set that on the lid. I'll put underneath how it wore. So in the description box, go ahead and take a look and you'll see if this really wore well on me. I can do just a dedicated review to it if you would like. So far, I'm quite impressed. Okay, so now for my face, this is where I can't use this because then it'll just give me that matte look. But the Charlotte Tilbury Genius Powder, if you've not tried it, it may be the powder that you are looking for because it does have a beautiful, very subtle glow to it. Now I just take it in the lid, small amount, and take whatever powder brush you enjoy and dab it in, work it into the fibers of the brush. You don't want to just go like this and go like this because then you're going to have to deal with that little bit that gathers right there, and we are trying to keep the glow. So I have my powder brush. I'm just going to pounce lightly all over my face, and you'll notice it settles it down a little bit, but it does not take that glow away. And we're going to do a couple more things. It takes a village. Did you think this was going to be one step? It's not. We're just taking a little bit more powder in here, and I'm just going to work it in, tap it off, and then we are going to set it, and then you can go ahead and swirl it. Once you set it, and you can see, I'm going right over my lids, and you'll see that the powder is set, but it is not matted. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back in with the Laura Mercier powder because there are areas on my face that I don't like to glow, and one of them is the T-zone, my nose area. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to take the sponge, and I dipped it into the Laura Mercier powder. Again, any powder that you love that works for you that has less of a glow to it, this is the one you'll use if you don't like your nose to glow. So I'm going to go ahead and just tap a little bit of this on the nose in the T-zone area, just above the lip a little bit, and my chin. Now, a lot of people will go in and add highlighter here to the bow, to the bridge. I don't like that look. If you like that, then you don't need to do the step I just did. So then I'm just going to go in with the powder brush and just make sure that it is really settled nicely. And that is it. So next I'm going to go on to my bronzer, and I purchased this during the anniversary sale. I have always loved NARS, their bronzer. It's just beautiful. But if you already have something like the Charlotte Tilbury, these two powders you will be able to use in the place of what I'm doing. Now, in using this, find a brush that you can control the amount. So I'm going to go ahead and tap some of that bronzer onto this brush. Notice I'm not swish, swish, swish. I'm just tapping it into the fibers of the brush, then a little bit on the mirror, and we are going to place it right here. We're not going into the contour with this. We are going right underneath the high point of the cheekbone. I'm trying to really put it on there so you can see. Okay, so that is what we're looking for, and then we will go ahead. Notice I'm tapping. We will go ahead and apply that all the way around. Build it up to where you like it. Make sure, see how I'm pressing that brush? It's not coming down here. Working really higher up. Now, don't put too much here if you've started to hollow out, because you want that to stay out. And if you put this darkness, you're going to make it really go in. So make sure that most of it is applied right here. Now, if you're using a bronzer, you want to make sure that the bronzer has a little bit of a satin finish, and this one does. If you use a matte finish, of course you're not going to get this glow, okay? So now, just going to go in with that same brush. Now this you don't want to press hard. You're just going lightly over it. There's nothing on this brush to make sure that your harsh line is really softened. All right, we're going to do the same thing on the other side, and I'll be right back. Next step, we're going in with a blush. I'm going to stick with this palette since I bought it, and many of you did, and I'm going to go in with, I believe it is called Lucky Star. All right, so again, pick a brush that you can control. If you're only going for the high part of your cheek, don't grab a brush the size of a powder brush and try to have perfect placement. Pick a brush that you can control. Now, I'm going to go into this blush. Now, what's really nice about the NARS blushes is they have a beautiful satin finish without having glitter in them. Now, I know some of them do, but this one does not. So again, picking up just a small amount on the tip of the brush, working it into the fiber. Always start with less because you can build up. And now we're just going to place this blush up high. And I'm just tapping, bringing it right up to the outer part, right where your temple. I end it right about here so that I'm giving a really nice lift. If you need more blush, you go back in, tap it on your hand, on the back of the product, doesn't matter. And we just build it up to what you want. So we're going to go ahead and pick more up, and I'm going to do the other side, and I will be right back. So now we're going to go in with our powder brush, and you want to just lightly sweep over that blush. This just tones down that harsh line. Plus, if the blush is a satin blush, it brings out a beautiful glow. So we're just sweeping around. We're not moving all over with the blush. We're just sweeping over what we just did. I'll do the same thing on this side. If you press too hard, lower the way you hold the brush. Move down that handle, and you'll get a very, very soft touch, and it's just enough to blend everything without wiping it all off. The next step, and the final step for the actual face, is from YSL. Now this is the Touche Éclat 3D All Over Glow Universal. Now if you are using the Charlotte Tilbury, this is where you would go in and use this one. And this, of course, would be the bronze. However, I will say this powder is so much better than this powder. So consider maybe it may be something you want down the line. So now I'm going to take a fan brush, and I am going to pick up some of this beautiful, beautiful powder. And I am just going to sweep it over the high point of my cheek, going right up to almost the temple, because remember, that will help to lift that up and out. Don't put it around where your wrinkles are. And it will just bring out an incredible glow to your cheeks and lift them at the same time if you are doing it correctly. So you can also use this powder all over your face, but it's a bit much for me because remember, I don't like my T-zone to glow. So we're going to go ahead and just do this side. It's a beautiful, beautiful powder For an aging skin, it has no sparkles in it. It is just spectacular. It is a beautiful, beautiful powder. Okay, so my face is pretty much done. Beautiful glow. T-zone area, I could actually go in, and I'm going to show it to you in the video. I am going to take a little more powder because I don't like to have shine here on my nose. I just don't, and I think it looks better for me if I just lightly powder that area. Okay, so I think that looks better. So now we're going to move on to my eyes. Now when I am really serious about wearing my glow face, I do prefer to wear matte eyeshadows. And normally I do. Today I want to show you what else you can do with this. You take a fluffy brush and you just go in and you pick up some of this product and you just go ahead and apply it to your eyes. You can do it right into your crease, right on your lid. I wouldn't go all the way up with this. I would really just stay in the isolated area of your lid and a little bit of your crease, and then just feather it lightly up. You can see that that is like an eyeshadow. So when they say universal, they mean universal. This can be used on your lips. It can be used everywhere. So I'll go ahead and do the other side and we'll be right back. Okay, so my eyes are done, but if you are someone who did purchase this during the anniversary sale, we're gonna go ahead and open it up. And I am just going to take some of the bronzer that I used to give a little bit of definition to my eyes. So I just load it up on a different brush, and I'm just going to go in the crease right here, and maybe down on the lid just slightly, just to add a little bit of definition and warmth. Although with the lighting, I don't need much more warmth. It's warming me up already. So now there's just a little interest going on there, a little definition for the eye versus just having it one flat color. So I'll go into that bronzer and do the same thing on the other side, and we're almost done. All right, so we are back with the finished look. I had to lean in a little closer because my camera will not focus on me sitting back there. So the light is shifting on me quickly. You know I am not a genius in that department, so I have to roll with it. Anyway, I think I achieved what I wanted to do in today's video. I wanted to share with you how I achieve a glowy look on my mature skin, and this is how I do it. So with just a couple of products, I know it seems like a whole lot more, you can use any of your foundations, any kind of highlighter that does not have glitter in it, my friends. That is not your friend at this stage of the game. A beautiful satin finish is our friend, but glitter is not, my friends. Unless you love it, then you go for it. But for me, it's not an option. I would like to thank Nordstrom again for collaborating with me. Everything that I used on my face today will be listed and linked below for you. It can be purchased in store or online at Nordstrom. All right, my friends, I'm going to let you get out of here. Let me know in the comments, are you going to give this a try? Do you have a really great foundation and highlighter that works well for you? Or are you just not interested in having a glow, my friends? All right, my friends, on your way out, I would love to have you as an ageless beauty, so hit that subscribe button. We're almost at 200,000. Let's get there. Help me get there. And hit the bell. The bell will notify you of all the videos that I'm putting up. Until the next time, my friends, you go out in the world and you glow, 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 and never, ever let anyone dim your light, ever.